Hey. So today we're going to do something different. I got a request about a week ago. Someone was asking how I set up my ZBrush, what I do, and they're asking to get their flow a little bit better, a little bit smoother, just to help them out. They're new to ZBrush, and I kind of want to respond to them, giving them a full video on what it is I do, how I've set up my ZBrush. So I'm going to try and run through everything pretty quickly. Let's start with a sphere because we need something in our scene to really get all of the menus to pop up and everything. So let's start off with a sphere. And now you can see here at the top everything has loaded in and whatnot. I'm going to start over here to the left where the light box is. I think I'm using ZBrush for R8, and before there was another button there, I think opened up the web browser or something like that, and I really didn't need it. It was in the way. So I scooted over the light box instead, and I don't use the light box that much, but sometimes I would just want to scrap a project completely, start over from scratch, and this makes it easy. It also helps me easily access the brushes here and the alphas, etc. Right? Next, I have the angle of view, and the angle of view is something I change every single time I come in a ZBrush. The very first thing I change, and I change it to 28 because I heard that 28 is closest to the human eye. So that's why I have this up here because I simply got tired of going into the menus to change it. I think it's up here in documents, I believe. Might even be draw. It's under draw. And, 90 makes everything warped. 28 just looks better. Then I have the RGB intensity. If I press star or spacebar and then turn on RGB, you can see it activates. Really and truly, it's just a filler. I press spacebar, here's RGB intensity and all of my other brush settings. This is what I use anyways. I've never used this RGB up here. It's simply because I didn't want an empty space. So next we have lazy mouse, and I use lazy mouse pretty often. Lazy mouse comes in handy pretty often. Here I have standard brush, and you can see that it's just kind of there, but I can bump up this lazy radius, and you see there's a red line, and it's not in sync with my cursor. So because I use it so often, I put it up here along with the lazy step and the lazy radius. The lazy step affects how often I guess it's how often the brush procs. So here you can see there's no lazy steps, so everything is really nice and smooth, but I can bump this up and all of a sudden dot dot dot. It's kind of hard to see. Let me try and lower that. The intensity and bump this up to 3. There you can see. So you can see that it makes dots. Those are the lazy steps, right? So that's why I have that up there. And I didn't have anything to put here, so there's nothing there. Moving on, next I have the symmetry. So symmetry is something you always need. X is the keyboard shortcut for that. But I really needed these here. I didn't so much need the button, but I did need to adjust where my symmetry was going to go. It was just taking too long to go into the menus. I made some headphones, and where I needed the X or the Z symmetry as well as the X symmetry. So putting this here just helped move that, a little bit quicker. I also have the radial symmetry here, and radial symmetry is, it surrounds the object. So if you have like a tire or something, you can make a tire really quickly, and you can also adjust. It works with these, so I can adjust which way that radial symmetry procs. I'm not sure what this M does. It's mirror symmetry. I've tried it and haven't noticed a difference. So it's there in case I need it. But you also have the radial count. So the radial count adjusts how many of the procs the radial symmetry has. So that's there and it's convenient. Underneath I have backface mask. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get this and I'm going to, why is that? Oh, it's because it's radial symmetry. All right, so I'm going to scroll this in like so, and BCB, because I find it worse with the clay buildup. Make sure I'm in draw mode, and I'm going to draw on this side. And because I have symmetry, it doesn't work. So I'm going to draw on this side, like so. Oh, is it not? Sometimes it doesn't do it, because I work with very thin objects sometimes, you know. There we go. So you can see I was drawing on this side, but it completely screwed up the other side. So what I can do is go to back face mask. Now I can draw on this side, and it doesn't affect that side. That comes on really handy, and you know, I didn't want to overwrite all of my brushes and whatnot, so I haven't gone through and just added backface mask on by default. So I put the button on there so I can easily access it. Next we have the divide, the subdivision. I have, so my divide here, I have my subdivision layers there. I have the delete lower, I have delete higher, as well as the smooth. So what the smooth does, if I turn smooth off and divide, let me show you like so. Oops. So, wait, what? Oh, because I turned line off, right. So, here we have all of the lines and whatnot, right? And smooth is off. So if I start pressing divide and just refresh that, you can see that, you know, there's more lines, but the ball is no smoother. Turn it on, and you see the ball gets smoother. So just basic subdivision things. Next I have the Dynamesh here, and I have my keep groups, I have the polish, the blur, and the resolution. The basic things that I use for Dynamesh. I don't really go into any other settings. I actually don't even know if there's other settings. Those are just the key features I use for my Dynamesh, and it takes care of anything, because usually I end up Z-remeshing anyways and then dividing. Then I have the last button I have is here for the Gizmo 3D. This was before I knew that the shortcut to it was Y, but even still, Y is such in the middle of my keyboard. Usually, if it's past T, I don't press it. You know, I go the long way because my left hand is on my keyboard for pressing shortcuts. My right hand is on my pen or whatever. So this changes from transpose tool to gizmo. Most of the time I use the gizmo. The transpose tool is really just a slice of life thing now. Since they added the gizmo's so much better. So next I'm going to get into this a little bit. I have my active and total points. So I see a whole lot of artists not using their active and total points, and I think this is a huge mistake. Knowing how many points you have and how many points your models are taking can really allow you to do some really crazy things. So I don't know exact numbers and whatnot, but I know rough estimates, and at about I think it's 200 million, maybe 20 million, something like that. I know that my computer starts to slow down, right? But it still handles pretty smoothly and it's very workable. I know that I can go into the surface, where is that? I always lose the surface here, add a noise, Actually, let's see if I can get there. 2 mil. Yeah, I'm still going good. There we go. 46 mil, I'm still running pretty good, right? So let's just stop here because maybe it's 20. I don't know. For 40 mil, I'm doing pretty good. Part of that is that I don't have a whole lot of objects in my scene. I like to work in pieces. So my active points, 46, one object in the scene. I can easily go in and add a noise like so and apply it to mesh. It's going to break. Did you break? I think it broke. Oh, awesome, awesome. It didn't break. So here, actually, it looks pretty accurate too. So I've gone and added that to my 46 million model. Now I know if I go any further than this, even if I only have one object, I know it's going to bog down my computer. So what I can do here, I can go to Decimation Master, preprocess current, go make a sandwich, come back, decimate current, go make another sandwich, come back, right? And so this really helps keep my file sizes down. It keeps my computer from being bogged down, and it stops, like you saw, it took a little while to apply the noise, not that long, but I know I can go even higher into the millions, and it's going to take a long time. But the higher you go, the more you risk crashing. So that's kind of why I keep my total points. Another thing keeping my total points helps me with is understanding where I'm at. So let's just say at 200,000 points, I can make a face. I have all the detail I need as long as I have my nose in place, my lips in place, and my eyeballs in place. I can do anything. I can mess with proportions. I can add some more detail, etc., etc. I can get the basic form of my shape that I want, and then I'm going to Z-remesh after that to get my proper line flow, and then I'm going to divide up, and that's where I'm really going to add my detail and whatnot. So, keeping these points in mind really just kind of helps out with how everything works, and knowing how things work and knowing how much you can push it. So moving on, so you notice when I loaded up, everything was very clean. I like everything very clean, no clutter, because I like for my workspace to be large. I wish ZBrush could get the menus and move them to the other screen. That's how I worked in Maya. All of my menus were on my second screen. But the only other thing I changed was here in the bottom left. So what this is your access selector. So if you click one and then you go, actually let me go ahead and bring that back so I'm not chugging along. BMV for the move topological, and you can see that I have the X selected. So what I'm going to do, have the draw size, and I'm going to move, and you can see I can only move in the X direction. Same goes if I exit that, and all of a sudden I can only move in the Y, and then I can click on X and Y, and you can see I can't move into the Z direction. I can only move in the X and Y direction. So that really comes in handy when you're trying to get, precise details and movements and stuff like that. And that's why I have that over there. So everything here is pretty much default, but the one strange thing you're going to notice, up here there's a menu that says Wyatt. It says my name. And so it's a custom menu that I have all of my most used tools. Everything that I most use in subtools, everything I most use in Z-Remesher, everything, well, I guess everything in Z-Remesher, but Z-Remesh is, one of my most used tools, so it gets its own menu. I have my fix crap button, where if something gets unmirrored, or I need to mirror something, mirror and weld, delete hidden, delete by symmetry, whatever, even polish or unify or smart resim, I have that all here under my fix crap button, which this whole section is simply to fix things that I broke. And then I have my quick edits. And so the fix crap button and the quick edits are under deformation. The top half is my fix stuff button. The bottom half are my quick edits. And there we go. Because I really didn't need them in one menu. I really didn't need them, cluttering everything up. Instead, I have them in their separate menus. I haven't figured out how to start up these menus with everything closed, kind of like how you see here. I'm pretty sure there's a way, and I just don't know how to do it. But the last thing you're going to notice in my custom menu, it says Dynamesh Master. So what Dynamesh Master was, it was a plugin that I used, which allowed you to choose the resolution of your Dynamesh, and it would try and get as close to the points as it could. So for instance, my resolution is 32. It would try and give me 32 points, and it was absolutely amazing because, if I knew that, all right, I can make a nose, if only I had, 32,000 points. At 32,000 points, I can make a nose, right? I can put in the 32,000 and it would do its best to get as close to it as I could. And then boom, I have enough and I can make my nose. So it's a really handy thing. I don't have it installed in 4RA because I wasn't sure if it was going to transfer over or not. So I haven't looked into it. I'm going to look into it and make sure that, it's all going to work out and whatnot. It was a really handy plugin that I'm pretty sure I'm going to use again. So why would I make a custom menu? If I have everything over here to the right, why would I make a custom menu up here and then I have to go looking for everything, right? So what I did, I got this menu and I plugged it into a hotkey. So W is for your moving, scale and rotate and whatnot, and Q is for your draw, right? So I press Q all the time, and then pressing Control for masking and stuff. But it's not really hard for me to Control and Q, which brings up that list. So instead of, I can use my full entire workspace, and because I only use a select amount of brushes and I only use a select amount of tools in there, tools and subtools, I can easily go and move something around, Control Q, open up my Z remesh, and then Z remesh that, to get a better line flow that I'm happy with. Okay, and then maybe subtools, and maybe I need to append a cylinder to that. Okay, I have my cylinder. Alt and click is to select, and you can see I can really navigate very quickly without ever having to go into the menus. All right, maybe I don't like this particular thing. I can Control Q and then delete that particular tool. I'm back at this one, and then maybe I need to go and open up my fix menu and mirror and weld. Now I have a butt. But yeah, so it's little things like that that really help speed up your workflow and whatnot. Even just making an own custom menu. Like I said, my shortcut is Control Q, and it brings up this menu here, and it has helped me speed up so much by hundreds of %. But yeah, really, that's all I really have. That's a guide to my my personal ZBrush. And how my workflow, well, not so much my workflow. I might make another video on that. I mainly just wanted to make a tour of how my ZBrush works, how I work, and how I prefer my setup to be, and just kind of the reasoning behind everything. But now that we've gone through that, that's all I really have for you today. Like I said, I might go over my workflow next. So, like and subscribe and hit that notification button to, uh, be the first to watch my workflow video. But that's all I have for you today. This has been the D you want. All three of them.